And we're live. And I did not have 1 minute to spare today. Wearing one of my blemished shirts here, which we're going to be giving a lot more of these away. Maybe we'll give away one tonight. But who all's here already? Mrs. One-Eyed Cat was here. She beat me here first and second. Got a friendly reminder here. If you're not yet registered for the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals, there is the link. Unfinished project is here. LP94 is talking about sludge removal. Yes, the thumbnail is my new parts washing tank, which I got at a farmer's auction, which is a private auctioneer around here. There was a transmission builder, among other things, and it was his estate, and that was one of the things in the auction. But I just snagged it because it was a cool old vintage parts washer built in Chicago, Illinois. The One-Eyed Cat himself is here. My Aunt Nancy says, hello all. Yeah, that was private, not Virginia Tech. The Virginia Tech one is monthly. I get stuff from that on occasion. And boy, if you're looking for a computer, that's a place to get a deal, I'll tell you. So that's where I got the one I'm using right now, actually. Turbo Tom 416, Junkyard D. Junkyard D put on my radar and helped me place an ad in a Vanner's Annual, which is coming out later this year. So look for the No Name Nationals ad in that. Mohawk 62 is here. Turbo Tom says, I'll be in Mason, Ohio tomorrow at Kings Island Riding Coasters. Cool, be safe. Wear your seatbelts. Big Mike says, that's a great intro. Lars designed that intro. LP94 Lars designed that intro. And I'm working on a little bit different version of it. But Lars did that, and he has been gracious enough to let us use that as our intro for the live stream on Fridays. But I'm going to be doing an updated version of it pretty soon. That was something Lars put together for his coverage of the 28-10-5 class last year. But we're going to have a little bit more. It encompasses the No Name Nationals in that intro. Junkyard D, did you get the stainless tables at auction? Well, not this one. When I see them, they're usually too high. There was a really good deal on some recently because they didn't have them marked as stainless when they were. A couple of tables I wouldn't mind having at this last auction, but I'm just not set up right now to put my tables where I want them. That really is a big thing that holds me back in and of itself. What I really want to do is my patio where I've got the Dart Sport is just begging for me to run some rafters off of it and enclose it. I just think that would be perfect to have a build room there. And then pave a little spot in front of it, or even just flat gravel in front of it would make a great place to work, and it would just be really handy for me. But I've got 2 other places ahead of this one. Maybe really, I should be 3, but I got 2 other places ahead of this one. One to sell, one to rent. The Lone Wrench Garage. I've seen you post some shorts up. Are you playing along in our 30 shorts in 30 days challenge? Because I know I am. I'm having fun with it already. I did one on that parts washer. I did another one that was an unlisted link of test driving my dad's Jeep. So I used it for a short. JB's Little Shop is here. Danny Boyd wants to know if Turbo Tom has a season pass. If I lived closer, I might have a season pass at Busch Gardens. I really do like it, but I'd go maybe every 10 years. Isn't that terrible? Who accepting sponsors? We're not accepting sponsors. I greatly appreciated our sponsors the first year, and I still do. But I just think this event works better without that. So I really like our friends that do things just as perks for us and like to support the cause, like Edelbrock. But I think it just works good for this event. This is a community event. Lars puts up the link for Lone Wrench Garage. He is running last in the No Name 500, but he's still got well over 100 subs. He's coming along nicely. And I think it'd be wild if he were to pass everybody to finish next in the No Name 500. Danny Boyd says, wouldn't hurt too bad to grab a table and deals. Yeah, I agree with that. I think everything at this auction went a little higher, and I was prepared for it too. Even that wash tank. There was some good stuff there. There really was. Good deal on a lift there. Good deal on everything there, I thought, really. But some of that stuff went for a good bit of money. Several days ahead. Yes, and that's the way to do it. Because we have 103 days, 3 hours, 51 minutes until the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. But when you get in on shorts, it's the way to go. I don't get ahead. I like for mine to kind of be relevant to whatever I'm doing. Having a few in the bank is a good idea, though. I don't know what I'm going to do mine on tomorrow. We'll see. Because I will tell you, for me, every day is different. The nature of what I do for a living and everything, it's all different. So, I just tend to do mine spontaneously each day. And if I get to about 9, 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, I haven't done a short yet, there's always something around here to do a short on. So I just do it. Turbo Tom says Busch Gardens has good food. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Lone Wrench gained 10 this last week. I'm assuming it means 10 subs. It doesn't go with Turbo Tom's great food, 10 pounds. Engine Light Garage, howdy, sir. Good to see you in here. Where is the flyer? That's a good point, JB. I'm behind on a lot of stuff. Cutter Down Garage 303 is here. So I think that name Cutter Down Garage and Mohawk go together pretty well, actually, because Mohawk seems like a cutting down kind of guy. Like mow them down with something automated. "104 days according to Cousin Cletus." Indeed. Cousin Cletus has got his grill challenge to beat him in a street car to win his grill. Kind of cool and different. Yeah, it does make me think of you, actually. Yep. Mohawk and Crystal. Boy, that is team danger right there. Turbo Tom says he rides roller coasters because the doctor's orders to stop kidney stones. Cutter Down says with burgers. That sounds good right about now, actually. I've been nibbling instead of eating real meals for quite a while now. Just the last few weeks. I've never had a kidney stone, but everybody I talk to says it's the worst thing ever. A lot of my friends get them. Danny Boyd grilled some steak tonight, tormented the neighbors. Okay. How'd you torment them? You didn't offer them any? I haven't grilled here in a while now. They have to smell it. What were you grilling? JB's thinking smoked pork chops in the grill tonight myself. That sounds good. JB can do his short about that. Big Mike says we just finished up the last of the brisket I smoked a couple of days ago. Yeah. Turbo Tom says 3 times for me, but none in the last 15 years. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I guess I'll get one eventually. I never have, though. Oh, missed yesterday somehow. Come on, man. Start with a flurry. Get a bank of them together. You can still do it in solidarity. Why don't you make a short today about how yesterday's was late? Mohawk said that poor tomato at JB's will never get ripe with all this rain. Yeah, but here's the thing. It gets done. I remember a YouTuber one time talking about how he got so much rain, he never could get anything done. He didn't have a building. And meanwhile, we got guys in the community working outside on the gravel, in the dirt, working circles around that guy. I mean, the older I get, the more I realize that attitude is everything. Cousin Cletus says do something different with merch. Yeah. So a lot of our merch, especially things like hoodies and stuff like that, is at Gunslinger Graphics right now. And you can get to them through the No Name National site. And there's a link down below this very video with links to that. And of course, we have our shirts like the one I'm wearing by Schultz Sign. So, yeah, we've added a few things. JB is more resilient. JB is very resilient. Yeah, unfinished projects. Them African boys don't let nothing stop them. Unfinished project. Can you put up that link that you sent me? One of those guys doing body work. It's pretty amazing to watch these bushcrafters and the quality of work they do. Surprisingly, with what they're using, would amaze you. Lars is all over it. Gunslinger Graphics. There's the page for No Name Nationals merch. Cousin Cletus says, I have some to give away. Oh, yeah. So what's different with that is that we're going to be having merch is going to be instead of up in the tower, we're going to have it announced from the tower, but we'll have it down at our booth, which is going to make things a little easier traffic control wise at the tower. So we will but we'll still do it. We're still going to do it, but just we're going to do it that way. It's going to help Ron Ward out a lot, actually. And it's going to help the people running back and forth. It'll help them. It'll help the people getting in and out of the tower. I mean, I got to tell you, that tower for that track has not seen nearly as much excitement and people running in and out at that event. I mean, that's more people run in and out of that tower to No Name Nationals than the rest of the year combined. So, which is great. It's a great problem to have. The enthusiasm. We're trying to control traffic. Yeah, no worries, man. Whenever you can. It's a good short, though. I don't think it was a short. I think it was a video. Colleen says working outside sucks, but if it's all you have, make the best of it. I would agree with that. I actually prefer to work outside almost all the time. I mean, obviously not when there's, ice on the ground. No. Keep it streamlined. Yeah, we kind of have to. We got to do some things to make life a little easier for Ron Ward and also the logistics of the tower. So if we have it there at the base of the tower where the event booth is, but then Ron can announce and can, can do his thing from the mic up there without having the traffic on the steps, it's going to help everybody out. So what we're doing is we're accommodating you guys because it's been so successful and so many people want to give away merch and shirts and that kind of thing. That's what we're doing. It's going to help. JB's going to be there on Thursday. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Thursday's going to be a fun day. Bad Tree Blake says Heathens Assemble. Howdy, Blake. Glad you could swing by. I think the interaction with Ron is paramount to the crowd participation. Yeah, well, we got that. It's the logistics of where we put the merch. It's not what we're doing is different so much as is how we're doing it. It's a logistical thing. We understand that interaction with Ron is very important. We get that. We're not compromising that. But that said, we have one of the best announcers in all the land, and we do our best to take care of him and help with things he needs. Mean Street Mopar, who is currently leading the No Name 500. Howdy. You going to do the 30 shorts in 30 days challenge with us and get your 500? You'll probably knock it right out of the park if you do. Mr. Quick Wrench sounds familiar to me, Cletus. Central Arkansas channel wanting to go. I think he can hit 500. Well, he should get in the No Name 500 right now. That would be hugely helpful to him to get it. He should get in it now. You don't have to have 500 to register. The great thing about the No Name 500, these guys, they risk their ego and sign up, and you get to follow their journey to 500 with them and help them and participate. It's great. It's fun. Mean Street Mopar's doing it. Right on. I got to tell you, I really like the content Mean Street Mopar does. Sometimes it takes a channel a little bit of time to get traction and build up, but he's always got cool stuff on his channel. And I learned stuff from him too. He's always got some little obscure thing, this Mopar stuff that we don't know, and it's neat. So, if by chance there's anyone here who hasn't yet checked out Mean Street Mopar, check him out. And I'll tell you what, you guys, if you get a chance, put out some of Mean Street Mopar stuff he's been doing out on your other social media. I mean, man, his time is now. He's working it, so he's still got 100 and some to go. American Hot Rod Association Dallas is in the house. Ron Ward was single-handedly the best addition to the No Name Nationals so far. Well, he's an OG for the No Name Nationals, so I wouldn't call him an addition. He's a part of the original construction. Additions are things that have later. That's the way I think about it, because I think of real estate, right? But so Ron Ward is an OG piece of the puzzle, and he is a very important one at that. And there is a link to Ron's channel, most of the old parts. We may see him tonight. He usually swings by the chat. JB's asking, does anyone need some 2.8 pistons? Will they fit a 283? Asking for a friend. Yeah, Mr. Rodder, what are you looking at for No Name Nationals this year? Think you're going to do some Buick action? .83 LLC, maybe. Dean Stevenson's trying to educate us on something. Australian and New Zealanders with GM 6 inliners have them already, arranged to a different degree. I don't know. Junkyard D says there may be a new 500 entry coming soon to the No Name 500. Kamikaze J is starting on his 65 Mustang tonight. Mr. Rodder has nothing planned for 2025. Well, you still got 103 days, 3 hours, 47 minutes, 37 minutes. That's time than I thought. You should say nothing yet planned. Danny Boyd says there's a 283 on YouTube that hits 12,000. No matter what it is, if you post an RPM number, a high RPM number on YouTube that some engine turns, people in the comments will tell you it doesn't. I know the video you're talking about. You're talking about the 12,000 RPM Nova. I don't know what it's turning. It does turn a lot. From my ear, I'm telling you, it's turning north of 10,000. I can tell you that. Main Street Mopar has the transmission cross member trimmed up for 518. Good. I want to see that. I want to see how you do that for that M body. Dallas says Suburban with nitrous in the burnout competition. Well, you want to blow it up that badly? Blue Grit likes the 65 Mustang. We need more Fords. We had a lot of Fords last year. Now, Danny boys, it's raining out there and I didn't put the grill away. Well, that's what you get for trying to make us all hungry talking about steak. Huh. Dean says, yeah, Holden's 2.83 8-liter inline six uses the same bore and stroke as the 60-degree V6 GM engine. Huh, interesting. I mean, that's information I can't imagine I'll ever need in my lifetime, but it is kind of neat. Big Mike says, I'm bringing a Fordish. Okay. Danny boy, best the Holden arrangement sounds better. I guess. Lars puts up a link to Mean Street's transmission cross-member mods. I'm actually looking forward to that. I want to see how he did it because people have all different ways they do that. And I like the work that Mean Street Mopar does too. He's very conscientious. Does smart work. I like watching the way he does things. Junkyard D says, I rebranded him after his late night antics in the pits. Yeah, he kind of got caught in a speed trap last year. No, it's all good. I enjoy that monkey bike slow race. That was some fun stuff. I would like to get the monkey bike slow race, and I'm going to talk with Dee about this and some Dougster and some of the others. I would actually like to maybe put it on the itinerary for this year. It's one of those things that's organically come up as a tradition. Danny boys have never had a cross flow inliner. Well, doesn't that just seem like the natural order of things? You got to wonder why anybody would ever make one that isn't a cross flow. But I mean, that's the way that CRV is. It's a cross flow. And yet the Jeep, no, it is not. A lot of things come up organically, yes. And yes, I read that. I read that with a twist. That is correct. That's invented a lot of things, Dean. Maybe the non-cross flow comes from the flathead days. Well, I know why they do it. They do it because of packaging. Because you can put both manifolds on the same side, and it helps package it in the engine bay. But we all know it's not the way to go for performance. You know, you get heat sink on the intake, and it's just not the way to go. Not to mention, I think it will be much harder to get the scavenging effect too. But that's a Vizard question all the way right there. I'm just conjecturing. Dean says because GM and all her wisdom made it so in Australia, perhaps. Here's a link to the African bodywork from Unfinished Project. I got to say, I was really impressed. About a minute or two in, I was thinking, okay. But then, you know, they really won me over as I watched. I think you'll enjoy that. Blue Grit says, Danny Boyd, so you heard me revving the old inline six during the burnout contest at last year's No Name Nationals. Blue Grit Garage Walker threw down in that burnout pit. He really did. Yeah. Inline 6 Mustang. Go Walter. That's the kind of variety I love when it gets added to the No Name Nationals. Stuff just exactly like that. Dallas and I were talking in the pits like, man, he is going after. We loved it. We were all about it. Lars says he'll take African bodywork over New Jersey bodywork any day. It's a far better result. Just telling you objectively like it is. I mean, if anybody says, well, I can't get those kind of results because I don't have, an English wheel and I don't have all the tools that I need, to make that kind of body work and patch panels. Oh, too bad you don't have the skills of the African bushcrafters that these guys have. It is pretty amazing to watch them work. It's amazing what they do with what they have. And then what was the short unfinished project? It wasn't a short, no, it was a video. It was a dude who made a bedside for a Ford truck. And I just thought that just blew me away. And I thought it was good until I saw when he fitted a taillight. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. Unfinished project says the difference is they don't stop till they're finished. This is true. This is true. They're not spoiled like we are. They don't get finished. They don't eat. They know the Jersey guy will be in another accident sooner than later. Rapid Transit J is here. Danny Boyd says, looks like the barefoot Pakistani casting a semi-truck brake drum on the ground. Oh, yeah, those guys are amazing. What gets me is it scares me to death watching them work. These guys are forging iron in sandals. I mean, you think it's uncomfortable getting a welding cherry in your shoe, which I have had before, and it hurts. I can't imagine doing that in sandals. I think they're crazy for that. They don't stop until they are finished. Maybe not. Ginger is here. Howdy. Dean says that would require a lot of disaffected to join their country unfinished. They make manhole covers. Are made somewhere like there's that weird buffer that happens about once or twice a Friday. But the Khyber Pass filters for motorcycles are made like that. Pretty amazing. Danny Boyd said, I caught a blob of solder on my foot doing some barefoot plumbing work on a pipe in the ceiling. Okay, well, I'm just going to say right now, Danny Boyd, why were you soldering barefoot? I got a welding cherry down in my shoe one time, and it burnt through the leather upper on my shoe. It burnt through my sock and burned in my leg. If it had missed the upper on my shoe, it would have done a lot of damage. And here's the funniest part. It burned a hole in the sock in a really certain place in a certain shape. And I remember one time I was talking to my cousin's wife, and I said, you know what? I said, this sock is older than you. I know it was for sure, because I remember the time period when it happened. That sock was older than her. I've learned it all that time. I can't believe it never frayed. Maybe it had to do with the way it seared the edge or something, because it never did. I probably still have the sock, actually. Who knows? They can cast brake drum, but can't make shoes. They do make shoes. They sell them to us. What do you think our shoes are made? I wouldn't weld and will never torch solder barefoot again. I'll tell you what, foot injuries scare me to death. These guys doing that stuff barefoot, they are nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder where my shoes are made. I know they're not made in America. Got my black New Balance here. Let's see. I can't read it. Somewhere not in America. How's that? Unfinished Project said, I've seen them make sandals out of used tires with a sharp blade. I can totally believe that. And I bet they're actually even half decent at that. Blue Grit Garage says, the scary thing is watching the Middle Easterners in their robes doing drifting and jumping their cars while hanging out of the windows, seeing their bodies fly out of something. Yeah, some of these ridiculous, unsafe, stupid drift events where they hang out of the cars and walk around and do all that stuff. Yeah, thumbs down on all of that. But I mean, there are some people that just love to nominate themselves for Darwin Awards. I mean, what else can you say? Danny Boyd says there's a video on using old tires to make roof shingles, and I bet they're good too. Yeah, it's funny we're thinking about that. So I'm always having to think about roofs because I've got so many of them, and paying for them is the most painful part of all of it. But I was thinking, I was looking at this roof and had all this just vegetation and moss and crap all over it, thinking, the way to clean that thing would be to get on the top side and hit it with a pressure washer. You definitely wouldn't want to do it from the bottom for fear of lifting up your shingles, right? If you did it from the top, it'd probably be okay. And I'm like, man, even then, that kind of pressure would hurt the grain on the shingles. It's still a really good way to clean a roof, I don't think. Ginger says, my foot injury is killing me. Wear steel toes. Wise. And Unfinished Project wants to know how you hurt your foot. Mopar's, Mustangs, and minivans. It's the Arabs on two wheels while the others climb out and change the other two wheels in the air whilst. Oh, yeah, I've seen all that. It's just crazy as can be. Crazy as can be. These are the same people that at weddings will shoot an AK up in the air and occasionally hit somebody. I mean, so one of my mentors, John Farnham, the longest running commercial firearms instructor in the world, probably. He's been teaching at least 53 years continuously for 53 years. He said something that I'll never forget that I always thought was really good advice. Don't go stupid places. Don't do stupid things with stupid people. And you'll live a longer, healthier, happier life. And he is correct. I mean, you'll read about something bad that happens in the newspaper. I'm like, this person got shot. Well, they were at a nightclub at 2 a.m. with all these drunk people. Oh, well, I wonder why that happened. Well, they just don't go stupid places and do stupid things with stupid people. It's amazing how much less eventful and bad things happen when you observe that. It's just amazing. Dean says high heels can help. If you're wearing high heels, as in healing, H-E-A-L, make the person without high heels do the work instead. Dean's always got some kind of weird comment like that, but I knew that wasn't a misspelling, not from Dean. Dean probably has an IQ of 160 and likes to flex on us and make us think a lot. Colleen says, my gym teacher wouldn't let me wear high-heeled sneakers. I could run in them. Probably aren't good for your feet, I wouldn't think. Big Mike said the worst foot injury was working graveyard shift in a warehouse as a senior in high school. A guy tried to be funny and scare me with a forklift. He ran over my foot. Ouch. I was chopping up a log that fell at one of my places in Bluefield, and I think using my foot to kind of kick that log around, to move it around and position it to cut, I think that's what started getting me the plantar fasciitis in my foot. And I had it for about 2 years. And I think that's where it came from, was doing that. Blue Grid says that's why downtown St. Louis is having problems attracting people to come down. Downtown St. Louis has a personnel problem. And it is what it is. Can't even pretend to know why there's a problem, but that kind of degenerate behavior flourishes there. It's awful. I went into downtown St. Louis one time, and I went north of the track at Sykeston because I really wanted to go see Bigfoot's garage there, and I saw Bigfoot 1 and Bigfoot 5. They were both outside. They were both in from appearances, and it was great. I got to see them. So it was really cool to get to see that. And I went into the hood in Ferguson and took pictures of I actually took pictures of every one of the shops that Bob Chandler worked out of. His first shop, where the airplane hangar looking shop used to be, it's now been bulldozed and there's a whole new development there now. And then his shop in the triangular building there in Ferguson. And then the one there in Hazelwood that's pretty famous, the one where they got all their fame in the 80s. And then this new one now that's pretty nondescriptive, Pacific. But so I did that little tour while I was there in that area. But that one's in a rough neighborhood in Ferguson, and it's got cameras all over and everything else. And I still walked up and took pictures of the outside. I'm like, what's the worst he can do? I'm going to be here. I'll probably never be back in my lifetime. But he's got to know there are people that show up occasionally and take pictures of it for that reason. He has to know what was there at one time. But that was the building where Bigfoot 1 was built, in that building in Ferguson. And it's really unique. It's triangular. It's a triangular-shaped shop on there's like a little triangle, merger of two streets that come together. And the shop is three-sided. And it's still there. And that's where Bigfoot 1 was built. Unfinished Project puts up the link, sandals from old tires right there. You want to see that. Danny Boy says, isn't that the Viet Cong type stuff, tire sandals? It's a shame Dad's not here to ask. He can tell you all about that. Danny Boyd says Bigfoot 1 was built out of a real high body F-250 4-wheel drive. Yeah, you know what? You come to think of it, I think it was. Didn't it originally have a toolbox bed too? I was thinking it did. Unfinished Project said it's anywhere that there are resourceful people. I would agree with that. It's amazing to watch these people work who are not spoiled like us and what they do with what they have. It's just amazing. And it makes you want to give them modern tools. It's like these people are talented and have the right work ethic. Wouldn't you like to know what they could do with the real stuff, the real tools and materials? The one I can't get over, though, so I admire watching these people who will take like a broken truck axle and they grind it down, and put it in a lathe, and they weld it back together with an arc welder. I'm like, okay, you put it back together, but how is there any strength in that stuff they do? Because they'll take these things that should be a hardened repair, like hardened steel, and they weld it back together. There's no temper in it at all. How do these repairs last? That's what I want to know. Like if you break a pinion gear on a truck, and seriously, they'll take a pinion gear, a 2-inch plus pinion gear, and they'll weld the thing back together. Okay, I get it. I mean, if you can't get the gear, you can't get the gear. And making those gears is totally out of the question. I mean, oh my gosh, making them is totally out of the question. So the thing is, how is there any strength in that? Like those gear surfaces, they'll actually have one that's wrung off the teeth. And so they'll take a sand casting of the other side, make a mold, weld it up, and then grind it to shape. How does that last? I don't know. I admire it, but some things I just don't think you can do that way. Danny Boyd says, I don't know about the utility box bed, but I read about it being a high boy, which had the divorce transfer case and in-cab tank, which was the 205. I didn't realize that's what made it a high boy, was the 205 transfer case. Produced from 67 through 77. Yeah, the first one was a 74 F-250. Big Mike said, it's kind of sad I have access to modern tools yet to do primitive work. Tell you what, though, Big Mike gets it done. Unfinished Project said, you'd be surprised it'll work when you don't listen to people that tell you it won't work. Well, but there's also people who will tell you it won't work. They don't listen to them and it doesn't work, which got to be prepared for that too. In Danny Boyd's opinion, that's what makes it a hot boy. Well, I mean, that might be something that caused them to give it more lift because the transfer case hung down lower. That sounds plausible. I don't really know. I don't know. That's a Ford thing. Can any of our Ford people tell us, where's Frizzell when you need him? Who can tell us definitively what makes one a highboy? I think the trucks are pretty cool, actually. And another thing Ford did I always thought was neat, and I don't know, I'm not a Ford guy. That Dent Side Depot guy, boy, it'd be nice to see him float through here about now. He'd know all about it. Ford had a thing where you had a long wheelbase truck. Okay, everybody's familiar with short wheelbase, long wheelbase, but then Ford had another wheelbase where the wheels were even further toward the rear of the bed on a long bed truck. And it looked weird, but I kind of liked it. I thought it was neat. And you see it primarily on the toolbox beds. And I always thought that was neat, and I don't know what you call it. So Ford had two different wheelbases and two different beds on the long bed. Unfinished projects as I weld cast. Lots of people say you can't weld. Depends what you're doing with that weld and the amount of strength you need out of that weld. There's differences. I'll weld cast too, depending on what it is. Yeah. Danny Boyd says, I never really wanted a four-wheel drive, but I'd like a highboy. Hey, I think they're cool. There's something I kind of regret passing on one time. Used to be these guys that had a 72 Ford Camper Special, and it had that weird extra long bed on it. It was two-wheel drive. It was a 250, 390 C6. They wanted, I think it was $600 for it. Of course, it was a very long time ago. It was 30 years ago. But it had a knock in it that sounded to me like, and we were theorizing, listening to it on the spot, that it was maybe a loose bolt in the flex plate. But I don't know. But I thought that it didn't sound like a knock in the engine or anything. Blue Grit Garage says, my uncle took a 4-cylinder industrial diesel from a refrigeration unit, made an adapter to mate it to a milk truck transmission, and put it in a 62 Falcon. He built it with throwaway parts. Hey, I like it. That's cool. That's great. Busy as he said, hey, folks, this movie, Take This Job and Shove It, starring Bigfoot. Yes, indeed. That was the first movie Bigfoot was in, 1981. And in that movie, they bent the frame on the truck. And this was when Bigfoot 1 still had 48-inch tires, and the doors weren't lettered yet. That was done right after that. But they bent the frame on it. Well, they were already building Bigfoot 2 for 66-inch tires when that movie was being made, and they swapped out Bigfoot 2's frame into Bigfoot 1's cabin bed and everything. So to this day, Bigfoot 1 has Bigfoot 2's frame. And Bigfoot 2, I think they put Bigfoot 1's frame in it because they took it out and straightened it and reinforced it, but I'm not sure. Now, Bigfoot 2, that truck still exists. I believe it's still a ride truck and it still exists. I don't know what the latest on it is, though. All of the trucks have been found. All of them have been found, including number 6, which had been missing forever. It was found in a junkyard in Egypt. And last I heard, they were trying to work out a deal to get that truck back here. And that was the first Bigfoot I ever saw in person, was 6. F-350 Super Camper Special. 73 to 79, 140-inch wheelbase versus 133. See, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. 140 versus 133. Spare tire lived in the passenger bedside under removable. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. But it was 73 to 79. Okay, so they didn't do it on the ones that were earlier now. I couldn't remember exactly. Okay, that's neat. I didn't know. I could see the difference, but I couldn't articulate it. You've got the info there I wanted. I'm a big fan of the bump side right before that, though. Actually, there's a guy who lives a couple streets away from me who has about a 68 model F100. And it's primered. It's got black wheels. Looks so great. Sits in his driveway. I've never seen it move. It's probably hadn't moved in 10 years or more. And then one day I was rolling by and there's this yellow sign on the windshield. And I thought out of the corner of my eye that it said for sale. So I stopped. And no, it was a license plate. It's one of these yellow. I think it was yellow "Don't Tread on Me" tag. I'm like, okay. Well, I hope he drives it around. It's a cool truck. I like those trucks. The odds are pretty good. If I live a long natural life, I will have one. But I love about a 67, 8, 9 Ford bump side, a 250 two-wheel drive, or even a 150. Yeah, 3 on the column, be just perfect. Danny Boyd said that reduced the rear overhang, allowed you to run a huge camper with like 3-4 feet overhang. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Danny Boyd says the first truck I ever drove was a bump side camper special. Yep. Busy says right after Bigfoot debuted, there was another one, a big red Chevy called Mammoth, I think. There was, so Bigfoot was not, there's a lot of, there's a whole big story about this. Jeff Dane and King Kong crushed cars before Bigfoot won. I believe he did it at Great Lakes Dragway in Wisconsin about a year before Bigfoot did its infamous car crush in April of '81. There were a lot of guys working on trucks at that time. To say Bigfoot was the first monster, I do not think is correct. But that said, he was among the very first monsters, and certainly innovated a lot of stuff. So, the Mammoth, I'm not sure. Crimson Crusher's a very old truck. It's a big red Chevy. There's a lot of great old trucks out. Barefoot was a very old truck. USA 1 was a very old truck too. USA 1, he started running his 66-inch tires because of Bigfoot 1. And USA 1 is also in the movie Take This Job and Show. Both of those trucks are. Cutter Down Garage says, my first YouTube video is my big red 78 E350 van on 44-inch Dick Cepics. That's what I'm talking about. When I think of big tires on a truck, that's what I think about right there. Your 44-inch mud tire. That's it. Danny Boyd says 67 bump sides are the last of the push-pull heater control. 68 went to levers. Oh, there's something I didn't know. Which Bigfoot was in Roadhouse? Bigfoot 7 was built for the movie Roadhouse. Bigfoot 7, they did that in one take. They drove it through a showroom of new Ford cars, 88 Ford, 80, I think it was 88 or 89 Fords, and those were new cars. It was done in one take. It was extremely expensive. They had cameras everywhere because they said, we're not going to take a second take of doing this. Jim Kramer was driving, and the truck went through the glass. It got some glass in the blower pulley, and it shredded the belt. And when the truck went through the one side and out the other, as soon as it made it through the other side, the engine died because it shredded the blower belt. So one take, it ran not 1 second longer than it had to. And there you go. That's the deal with Bigfoot 7 and Roadhouse. The truck got later put on 10-foot tires. And he went to that Race Rock Cafe in Orlando, and the guy will not sell it back to Chandler. Chandler would like to have it back. Yes, Barrows, we're talking about Bigfoot in film. It's come up a few times. That's right. That made Barrows' ears burn. Danny Boyd saw Roadhouse, but don't remember Bigfoot being in it. Well, you had to be facing the TV. You know how you missed that. I mean, my gosh, man, it's only a truck on 5.5-foot tires with a blower. I mean, and a Ford, a blue Ford. I mean, it's like everything you like. I don't know how you missed that, Danny Boyd. Barrows said, we ran with the Bigfoot team for many years. Great bunch of guys. Yeah, from all accounts. I know that Bob Chandler is just kind of put out on all of these things. I mean, he's retired. He's enjoying. He says now he wants to see the country again, but this time get to go and hang out in places he only drove by on the roadside going to shows. I get it. I totally get it. I've never met Bob Chandler in person. I'd like to do it. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get to go to the Bigfoot open house. It's right about time. It's in June every year. And this would be the 50th anniversary this year, this month, 1975. Who knows? Maybe they'll get Bigfoot 1 out for a 50th anniversary crush. I have no idea. Wouldn't surprise me. Cutter Down Garage says there's a blue 85 Chevy on 44 TSL Swampers 10 feet from me with a big 5x6 flag in it. Cool. What's on the 5x6 flag? I like your style. 44 TSLs. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. So a fellow I went to school with, Shannon, who probably wouldn't even like being mentioned on here, he had a 71 Ford on 40-inch gumbo mutters. I always liked the look of that truck. It didn't have much lift at all in the front. It had trimmed fenders. It had lift blocks in the back, so it had a rake to it. And it was on 40-inch the Gumbo Monster motors on the white wagon wheels, and the truck was black. I thought it looked great. I would love to find a picture of that truck. I always liked that truck. And he drove that to school. I want to say it was in the late 80s like that. So cool. Love to see a picture of that truck today. Well, the truck probably doesn't even exist today, but I'd love to find a picture of the truck. Junkyard D says, that hurts to hear. 75 is 50 years. Yeah, I get it. I'll tell you what, it's going to really be worse in 2 years when I'm saying 77 was in 50 years. Danny Boy was in the 3rd grade. How old were you when you were in the 3rd grade, Danny Boy? That's the next question. Stars and Stripes. Which stars and which stripes? The 50th anniversary Bigfoot Open House might be this weekend. It was on the news a few days ago. Exactly. Evans Mopar Scott says, I finally made it. Howdy, everyone. Just ordered a rebuild kit for the 4-speed to go in the 65 Dart GT. Be nice to have my first car back on the road again. Cool, man. What is it? Is it an 833? Exactly, Daddy Boy's asking if it's the stars and bars. Big Mike said in 75, I was 7. In 75, I was -2. Danny Boy says 8 and 9 in the 3rd grade, right on schedule. Yep, 833. Cool. I like those. I remember the first couple I did it with a lot of grease on those roller bearings on the counter shaft. How miserable those things are. Cope told me use a piece of conduit to hold all that and push it through. Makes complete sense. I just never did it that way, but next one I do, I'll do it that way. Lars puts up a link to a Bigfoot's open house update. Cool. Love it. And I'll tell you, they have really been working hard in recent years of finding these old trucks like the Bigfoot Ranger, which I thought was a terribly underrated truck. Oh, my goodness. See, the thing about that Ranger was it was always on 48s, which I think is really a much better tire for those things anyway. But it had a blown 572 made obscene amounts of power, and that truck could really fly. It was a real performer for a leafer. And anyway, that truck, again, it disappeared. Some guy found it. It's on its way back. It's pretty complete. So it's good to see it coming back. So I would say they'll have more trucks than ever this year from the original fleet. And I love to see that. Dakota is in the house. Dakota himself. Now, I believe, I'll let you guys know, I believe that it's next weekend. I'm going to be live on location with the Rapid Transit Garage folks, Jay and Jason. Not there, but where they'll be next week, which is closer to me. Dean Stevens says, the king hasn't given me a knighthood yet. I don't know. I think if they gave those away here, they should be Knight Rider hoods. How about that? Who else in here is doing the 30 shorts in 30 days challenge? And what do you have on deck? What's coming up soon? I don't even know what I'm going to do for mine tomorrow. Don't know. We'll see. I usually see something short worthy over the course of the day. I probably should bank a few. Dean Stevenson is telling Rapid Transit Garage to bring your Geiger counter. Plutonium 238. Oh my goodness. What are you trying to do? Get the machine to trigger that or something? 3 days in. Yep. Yeah, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says it's cool that JYD met Daisy Duke. I thought that was cool. He sent me a picture. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, while Catherine Bach and John Schneider, Tom Wopat are still alive, I think it would be cool. I have the Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox from when I was 5 years old that my dad hand lettered and put my name on. I think it might be cool to get them to sign that. Because I've come across Schneider and Wopat in the last couple of years, and Daisy Duke eventually she'll be over at Cooter's place, I'm sure, here in Luray, usually like once a year or so. I should do that. I really should. I should do that. I should make that happen. 38 Racing says, I'm going to give it a shot, 30 and 30. Right on, man. Just do it. You can do it. And Ray's will be worth watching because he does a lot of really cool work, and you can learn things from him. Yeah, I guess I should do it. Heavens Mopar Scott says, doing the 30-day challenge, mostly house and yard improvements. Yes, good thing to do. Dizzy said, called the ambulance for the wife again Monday, came home today. Yeah. Danny Boyd once saw John Schneider or Tom Wopat at the Carl Casper car show in the late 70s or early 80s. My goodness. Junkyard D's trying the 30 for 30. Neat. Pretending to be a car guy. Hey, folks, just saying hello. I've learned a lot from Ray. Yes, you can learn a lot from Ray. He's a smart guy. Does a lot of good stuff, too. As soon as I saw his channel and the stuff he was doing there, like bolt extraction and all this, and this guy's for real. Give her our regards, Dizzy, for a quick recovery. I saw something in traffic today that reminded me of Dizzy, so I'll go ahead and say it. Oh, I got a picture of it, too, I think. I got a picture of it, too. Let's see. Here you go. So, yeah, I'm starting it. I don't care. It's my channel. I saw this in front of me in traffic today. If you still support Trump, stay 500 feet behind. I don't trust your judgment. So I immediately went around and got in front of him so he can see my Trump 2028 in the same spot on my back window. I mean, you know, you're going to have stuff like that in your window. You might as well have fun with it, right? That's why we have it, right? Pretending to be a car guy. I'm from Clayton, Inglewood. Okay, I saw that was an Ohio license plate in his thumbnail. I thought it was pretty funny. I know Dan. Okay. Now, what's your license plate in your thumbnail there, pretending to be a car guy? What is that? Laura says, my 30-30 will be 100% guaranteed nonsense. Hey, Lars has about 6,000 subscribers. He knows something. Only 100 LP. Yeah. Nice bumper sticker retaliation. I don't know. I just thought it was fun. I mean, you know, how seriously do some people want to take themselves, right? The funny part is that people ask me about that. I have Trump 2028 on my back window because I had Trump 2020, then Trump 2024. Now I got Trump 2028. And people say, hey, third term and all this. I'm like, no, dude, you don't get it. I'm going to write in my friend, Tom Trump, for 2028. He's a friend of mine, and he's older than Donald J. Trump. He had the name first. His name is Tom Trump. He's a good dude. He lives right here. Who says I'm not planning to write Tom Trump in 2028? What's this assumption? Tom is a good dude. And I'm sure that growing up, he had no idea that his name would become such a hot topic. And I don't even know how Tom votes. I don't know. He's just a good dude. I've known him for years. Good dude. Now I see it. Pretending to acronym for the channel. Yeah, I like that. Old Ohio plate. Yep. I found a 1965, I think, West Virginia license plate in the shrubbery working on this old house, partially rusted away. Have no fear, the Dougster is here. Cousin Cletus says, my son is wanting to run the vehicle I'm bringing down the track. Does he need a spectator participation ticket? We'll talk about that, Cletus. Main Street Mopar. Yeah, if you guys would, he's working it. Let's help our buddy Ken here get his 500. We want to have. There's going to be nobody who have longer awaited 500 party than Mean Street Mopar Ken. When he has his 500 moment, we want to pack the house. In fact, with him, I think we want to do it a little earlier. So we'll do about 450. When Ken gets to 450, we want to pack the house and maybe make it a nice long one with him. You know, like have him on for an hour or two, and have a really good 500 party. Okay, this is exciting. CRT shift pack install video being made now. Oh, cool. Cool. We want to see that. Now, I did that very same shift pack on Don English's transmission. I have done it before it was offered in kit form to the public. And Dougster has one that he won. He won the first one before you could buy it. Someone throw the link up for Mean Street Mopar. Unfinished Project is all over it because he lives in the future. He was able to put it up before Cletus even asked. He's so fast. Good deal, Dougster. I'm ordering this one this weekend from Cope. And by the way, if you like the logo on the CRT shift pack, yours truly did that. Just thought it was cool and fun. Cope said, I want to do a logo and something kind of Mopar-ish and a catchy name, and had some ideas. And here we are, CRT shift pack. Dougster says the valve body is apart and I'm about to dismantle the upper half soon. Cool. Love it. Yeah, get lots of video in there, man. I love it. I love doing valve bodies. To me, if you can do a carburetor, you can do a valve body. Wrong English says, you're making me laugh. Thank you. Well, I don't know exactly what's making you laugh, but I certainly do plenty that's worth laughing at. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, it's all in Ohio now getting put together with the 440 motor. Okay, cool. Oh, your transmission's up there, huh? Right on. Exciting stuff. I like it. So you've got your converter from Iben. You got that transmission. Your 440. Boy, that's going to be a big step forward for that car. You're not going to know what to do with yourself with all that going on, Dawn. Yeah, Dougster, I'm looking forward to that. Dougster doing building with his parts from the Valve Body King of Chicago. That Valiant is going to rip. Yes, it will. I think the transmissions there are cool. I could have built the transmission for myself when I went there. I actually got more joy out of doing one for Dawn because Dawn so richly deserves it. I really wanted to do that with my time up there. Just Dawn is such a good dude. Don says, yeah, only broke, speak of him and he appears. Only broke one ring and boogered up a cam bearing, but we're getting it. Oh my gosh, how'd you do all that? How'd you break a ring and mess up a cam bearing? What in the world? What were you assembling it with, a chainsaw? What ring did you break? I mean, I typically will break a ring on purpose and use a piece of old ring to clean the groove in the piston with for starters. And then I have a pick that I like. It's got a burr on the end, and it's just perfect. I can put on my thumb, and I turn the piston, and it's just perfect for scraping that carbon. I actually like it better than the ring. The ring is good to get started. I take it over to the bench grinder, and I put this little, about a 60-degree angle on it, and it's just perfect for cleaning to start it with. But then I use that little pick to finish. It's just it seems like it gets it perfectly clean. Piston ring band stock. Oh, I know that, but what were we doing? Beating them in with a hammer? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know people do that stuff, Dougster. I know they do, but there's no reason for that. No reason at all. Oil it up good. And then I'll take the hammer handle, hold it by the head of the hammer, and just push it straight down. No reason to even pound on it, nothing. B&R says the tapered ring compressors are best and they're pricey but worth it. I would agree with that. Unfinished project says welding a cam strut bar from the lifter to the piston. Things got a little wild with Uncle Sonny. What? Welding a cam strut bar from the lifter to the piston. That makes my head hurt even thinking about it. I don't even want to know what you're talking about there. Lars puts up the link to this short, the Valve Body Court Jester of Michigan, a.k.a. Dougster. Right on. The court jester, but he can't be the king. The Valve Body King of Chicago, Mr. Froman, is located in Lowell. Barrow's Garage says barrel ring compressors are pretty easy to break a ring, especially with today's QC on tools. They are, but like with everything else, you have to be careful with them. I've not broken a ring. Well, I messed one up there. I did mess up a ring with one time. I'll give it that. I didn't break one, but I did mess one up a little bit. 38 says, do not clean ring glands with a wire wheel. I don't. I use a broken ring, and then I take my grinder and I put about a 60-degree on it, and then I go through there and I, clean it with that, and then I have a pick with this little certain angle. It's just perfect. I have a few things that are bent and burred where they're just perfect for certain jobs. But I got a curved punch that's just perfect for certain things, and I got this pick with that little hooked beak that's just perfect for that. Colleen, a.k.a. Mama M to the third power. Let's not talk about chainsaws. I have a 3-inch gash in my finger. The chainsaw is off, but the chain is sharp. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I kind of like sharpening chainsaw chains. It's just, it's calming. BNR said, the first cam bearing I installed, I goofed and messed up the soft valve. Yeah, it's not hard to do. I actually... I like using the cam bearing install tools for doing bushings. I just use the one piece, and it's just perfect for doing bushings. I have cam bearing install tool. I've done the pump bushings, or the drum bushings rather, and torque flight with them. Fits it perfectly. BNR says I always buy 2 sets of cam bearings. Goof up, have spares already. Okay. Mater is here. Howdy, sir. Thanks for coming by. Unfinished project says pack that wound with sawdust. Yeah, well, maybe. I literally carry a tourniquet in my pocket. And because if you need a tourniquet, you need it now. Be careful is right. Running a chainsaw is a little bit scary. I'll tell you what, for whatever reason, scares me more than a chainsaw. I never really can rationalize why, but running a circular saw, to me, is one of the scariest tools you can run. For some reason, those things scare me more than chainsaws. DNR says I've replaced more transmission bushings than me. The time you spent a couple, well, I mean, I've replaced some there, but I've replaced a lot more, here. I can tell you that. Dizzy says I use the dentist pick to clean ring grooves. Oh yeah, they do. And my pick is similar to that, but it's got a burr on the end of it that happened by accident. But that little burr makes the perfect beak for getting the carbon out of them. It's like my go-to tool for that. It's like it's just the right angle to chip that carbon out of there. Grinder scares me more than a circular saw. Yeah, they are scary. I'll give you that. Is Cope in the chat? Haven't seen him. Probably not. He might be out night boating today on his pontoon boat. Who knows? I know he's been awfully busy. Mohawk said, I broke a piston ring once just trying to put it on the piston. I guess you can't spread them too far open. You can. I got to tell you, so, they make the pliers to spread them open and put them on with. What I don't like about them is that the foot that you have to put the ends of the ring in require you to spread the ring even more to clear the foot too. So I didn't used to like the idea of spiraling them on with your fingers, but if you're really careful, I think it's better because you don't have to spread it quite as far as you do with the little pliers for installing. So I kind of prefer spiraling them on with my fingers, just being careful not to twist them a bunch. Like I don't want to snap one end down in there and one end up and put a bunch of twist in it while I do it. So I'll work it down over the diameter, to a groove and then carefully work it down, work it that way. I just think that's a better way to go. But Danny Boyd says none of the grinders here have guards. That's a problem. I would not use a grinder without a guard. Not on your life. These things are so dangerous. Narrow says, we learned how to do tourniquets on our scout troop lost 3 due to nosebleeds. Well, you put on a tourniquet for a nosebleed? Well, you put it around their neck? This is my tourniquet. I carry in my pocket every day. I got a TK4 in my pocket. And yeah, people say, yeah, man, you should carry a windlass style. First of all, the windlass style is twice its size. And second of all, the windlass style doesn't fit all limbs. See, this one, you come upon a car wreck and there's, say, a 6-7-year-old kid in there with a leg hanging off. This one will size down to that. Also, if you come upon a gigantic 400 or 500 pound person, this will go around that leg. So I like the size versatility of the TK4. That's why I carry what I carry. The main thing is carry one. Big Mike said, if I ever get a chance, I'll show you my grinder scar. And while we're talking about tourniquets, I've been wanting to do a firearm training live, and I said when I do one, we'll give one of these away, these style of shovel. And that's the perfect place to talk about things like tourniquets and stuff like that and other dirt-tastic stuff that's not automotive related. B&R says those Edelbrock VRS carburetors, Professor P, annular booster carbs work nice. Fired up Jeff's 311 small block Chevy a few Saturday back. Yeah, I got to tell you, the reports of people running the VRS are fantastic. Bobby Frizzell said that he just got 20 miles to the gallon with an out-of-the-box VRS, not one screw touched, no adjustments. Threw it on his wagon, has driven it 800 miles and gotten 20 miles to gallon in that full-size wagon out of that VRS. So Bobby Frizzell is a believer. And I will tell you, as a perk to people who are registered for the No Name Nationals, we get 10 to 15% off everything in the Edelbrock catalog with our own concierge at Edelbrock, Alex So. So that is a perk for registering for the No Name Nationals. You can save enough on a VRS carburetor to cover your registration fee alone. Dougster says it's basically super glue. The military wanted liquid stitches in the late 60s, and it works well. Everyone noticed how versatile it was for everything else. Okay. Mater needs to pick his last few brain cells with a transmission question. This is a good place to ask a transmission question, Mater, right here. This is a good place to ask it, actually. Cope had a live and William 383 Charger won a slap shift conversion plate. Oh, that's cool. I did not catch that one. Jeff's dragster rail with the zoomies is not optimal to take advantage of the 5th cycle overlap any. No merge collectors. Okay. Carry because you carry. Yeah, that was that shirt I was wearing. I had another one I should have worn tonight. It said, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms should be a convenience store, not a government agency. I almost wore that tonight. Brian Beeler in the house. Mr. Automotive Roundup himself. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. Dougster said Dougster was the Mopar quizmaster on Cope's Live. Made William work for his prize. Okay, that's cool. Indirect connection. Hey, indirect connection, while you're here, are we still on for 1 week from right now to do that live from the place you're going to be? We still good for that? Junkyard D said, I once lectured a friend for not having a guard on his grinder cutoff wheel. Well, I'll tell you this. So you guys, your Uncle Tony there, he's got some, if you see him on video, you don't really notice it. If you see him in person, you notice it up close. He's got some pretty gnarly scars, like across the bridge of his nose and on his face and hands, where he had a grinder wheel blow up on him working on a trailer one time. And this was, I don't know, probably 7, 8 years ago. And I'm telling you, he is lucky to have both eyes still. I will not run an angle grinder without a guard. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care what it's in the way of. I won't do it. The thought of losing an eye to me is unbelievable. Yes, we are. All right. Can I tell them where we're going to be? Danny boys, as you can see the scars of the video. Well, maybe you're watching that close, but I just noticed. I didn't notice until I met him in person. Lars says, No Name 500 Contender Indecisive Garage. There's a link to Tim's channel. Tim is doing the 30 Shorts in 30 Days challenge, and he's a great guy, and he is working on it. He's close to halfway there, and it's about time. Indirect Connection says, we're all loaded up, ready to head south. Right on. He says, yes, you can. So these guys are going to be in southern West Virginia, near where the riding trails and all are, in the area where I'm from. And we're going to be live together this upcoming Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And guys, are you going to be in the Bramble area? Is that where you're staying? Is that where you're going to be on Friday the 13th, a week from right now? The Bramble area? Because if so, you guys would be welcome to do the live. I'd have to ask my buddy Ben if we could do the live from his shop. Because, I mean, literally, it's just right there. B&R says, I use the angle grinder guards too. Yeah, I'm telling you. Danny Boyd wears the goggles. Yes. Mater says 46RE will not shift out of first gear. Changed all 3 solenoids in the filter. What else is it? It's a good question. Good question. Let's ponder on that a little bit. That'd be a good one, obviously, for Cope. If Cope swings in, it's usually the last few minutes of the live on Friday. Turbo Tom, if he were in here, he'd be a really good one to ask that question. But what do you guys say? 46RE will not shift out of first. Changed all 3 solenoids in the filter. Good question. How's your manual valve? You checked where it's actually located when you're putting it in gear? Danny Boyd says, wild, wonderful West Virginia. Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, you guys can. I can ask Ben. You can do it right there from Larry's Pneumatic Service in Bluefield, right there. The One-Eyed Cat, Don English, says, I'll be in Gasaway, West Virginia next weekend for a family reunion. 22 years now and still going. Cool. Ask Cope. Yeah, I would. That's right up his alley. Unfinished Project asked the same question. Yes. Center of the state. Cool. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, I'm lucky to have a face after we were working on our old van we had right before the One-Eyed Cat up at Tony Fegley's place. I don't know where that is. We're lucky to have a face. Sounds like a gnarly wreck that about happened there with something. Just make sure to bring your electric pressure washer for Ben to fix. Yeah, I asked him what's the one thing if you could make not exist anymore, it would be the Karcher electric pressure washers. I know his late father hated those things too. DNR says the 46RE in his 2008 Mitsubishi Raider has been trouble-free. Cool. Dougster said the valve body was cast June 67, I noticed earlier. That's a 6-screw valve body? Mater says, I missed it. Mater says, I've not messed with it in 7 years and in drive. This all started after I went off road due to a DPS officer getting shot on the highway. What? Try it in the manual settings and see what it does. See what manual 1, manual 2, manual 3 do. This all started after I went off road due to a DPS officer getting shot on the highway. What is that? Is that an episode of Cops? What happened there? Heavens Mopar says, before I make a cut with a cutoff wheel on a grinder, I make sure my face and body parts are out of the wheel's pathway if it does decide to go. I got to tell you, I do the same thing. Those things scare me to death. It's a 4-screw square plate. Okay. And that shift pack works with the 4-screw valve body. One-Eyed Cat said that was from taking a strut apart, blew a hole in the ceiling. Oh, yeah. Man, I'll put a spring compressor on a Camaro one time, and those things scare me to death. Doing coil springs is terrifying on a car. It just is. Working around the airbag is terrifying on a car. The gas tank, those are 3 places that I always are a little nervous working around. The airbag, the gas tank, and coil springs. But anyway, I had 2 of those hook-style spring compressors on it, and I was trying to get it free, and one of them slipped and came around the side, and then it popped off and popped free, and I don't know how high in the air that strut went. Fortunately, it missed the fender, missed my face. If it hit my face, it at least taken some teeth out, broken nose or something like that. It did hit my finger on the way up, and this finger was all swollen and sore, couldn't bend it for weeks. I mean, I could have been hurt a lot worse when that coil spring came off those compressors. And so, man, when I do it now, I do coil springs now, I wrap a chain around them. And I'm not using the chain to compress the coil spring. I'm using the chain to absorb energy in case it slips. So that if the coil spring does slip, the chain will take away a lot of that stored energy so that it can't jump as high and far and do all that it can do. Now I know. Possibly messed up wire, maybe. Okay, part throttle kickdown mod from Coke 2. There you go. Blue Grit Garage says, almost lost an ear from one of those mid-70s Ford factory flex fans. Went through the shroud, sliced the battery, and missed me by inches. I heard it go by. Oh, gosh. Barrow says, secret to a cutoff wheel is keep the sparks coming to you. If the sparks are away, you are out of rotation when it comes apart at you. Okay, makes sense. God, keep the sparks coming towards you. Kansas, that's you can't win. But you're right. Mater says, I looked after it cost $350 to tow the truck back home. I'll look again tomorrow. Yeah. Could have one pinched to ground or something too. Got to protect that finger. Yeah, it was my trigger finger got hit. My primary trigger finger. Danny Boyd says, Ford Tempo springs are so weak. I just raw unbolted the keepers. They only fly a few feet. Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff people say that haven't been hurt yet. Unfinished Project says, Googled it, and this was a reply made, or everyone overlooks the kickdown cable. I had one at my shop. Was frayed internally when I disconnected from the transmission and pushed the lever. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Mrs. Wildcat turned her head just before it happened. Yep. Pushed the cable forward and started shifting. There you go. There's something to try. Check that out, Mater. One-eyed Cat's telling Ron. BK Cars, is that Burger King? Is that what that is? Thinking of taking both Valiants. Will you be in town? Dust Devil Garage is here. Howdy, Brian. How's it going, sir? Bottom of the hour, I'll get in a plug. I'm going to be with Indirect Connection, Jason, and Rapid Transit Garage Jay a week from right now, tonight. We'll be live from Southern West Virginia. So that's going to be fun and exciting. So be on the lookout for that. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Kind of makes me wish I'd have fudged on my price and bought those airbags. We could have blown them up. I didn't even think about the timing of that. Would have been perfect. Would have been worth fudging on my price a little bit. I don't know. I'll probably have a few I can round up anyway. Yeah, I think the more I think about it, Mater, the more Unfinished Project, that actually kind of makes more sense the more I think about it. See, when people say things like this, howdy, Todd, how you doing, mate? I'm like, I have to think from it, who in the world was Todd? And then it occurs to me. Maybe we can talk Jay into sitting on one. That'd be fun to watch. You ever set one of those off, Jason? I'm not putting anybody on that airbag. Heavens Mopar says, I survived crazy accidents yet about 2 weeks ago. I messed up my hand playing fly with some 20-year-olds trying to be a kid again. Gonna have to have it x-rayed soon, see if anything can be done. Yeah, take care of yourself. We're not getting any younger. Peckerwood Customs Aaron says, supercharged outlaws to local drag strip. Sounds like it's in my backyard today. Cool. Danny Boy says, and Beavis and Butthead snickered. Right on. Instant back injury. Yes, it would be. Sounds like something Johnny Knoxville would do. If they knew about those things, I'm sure they would. Funny part is, didn't do it all the time. We'll get in there and check it out. That sounds totally plausible to me. Of course, another way to check it is foot on the floor. See if at about 50 miles an hour it shifts out. If it does then you probably know it's with the kick down. Peckerwood Customs Aaron says, not too bad. Slept in, got to do errands, but I thought I should have a look here. Yeah, what time is it there where you are, Aaron? It's 9:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. It is 11:30 a.m. I'm assuming Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Danny Boyd says improperly adjusted kickdown cable will burn up an AOD in short order. That's what I hear. 14 hours ahead of us. Yep. You slept until 11:30. Okay. Well, people who sleep until 11:30, they're just running on a different time zone. Aaron says, I'm the star man, 14 to 15 hours ahead of most of you folk. Yeah, cool. Well, you can let us know when bad things happen so we can be ready for it. Says, I went to bed at 3 a.m. That's a late night. Dust Devil Brian says 11:30 is my normal wake up time. He also works second shift. Crystal is doing well. Crystal Gilmore. Glad she's well. Unfinished project says Dean won't give me the winning lottery numbers. Can you hook me up? There you go. 11:30 a.m. My lunchtime is almost over. Danny Boy says I slept till noon and even 4 o'clock till I was about 50. Then I started being a morning riser. I got to tell you, I like the getting up early thing. There have been times in my life where I've been a get up early person, and I do like it. I don't normally do it. I should. Crystal Kilgore is healing well. That's a good thing. I'm glad for that. Blue Grit Garage says Anna's 67 Mustang has an AOD and no cable. Hopefully it's not burned up. Maybe the previous owner locked it in a position that will not lock it up. I don't know. I don't know enough about the AODs to know. I know one thing. I like the manual valve body. That's a good fix for that. Now, Blue Grit Garage, have you ever seen anybody run the big truck E4OD in a Mustang? Danny Boyd says, I like getting up early too, unless it's because of an appointment or something. But now I get up early enough for pretty much any appointment. Yeah, right on. I know some people who get up really, really early and they like it. They prefer that. I like it too. Not necessarily been a big practitioner of it, but I like it too. I used to get up about 5:30 every day. I go in the gym, be in the gym by about 6:30. I'd get out of there, get a shower, make it to my 8 a.m. classes at Virginia Tech. And that was when I was really running good. Right when I got out of there, my 8 a.m. classes, it's great. It's perfect. Did that for years. And then you get out of the college life. And then for me, I went straight from the college life to the real estate life, which is not good for habits like this at all. Real estate life, you got one 9 a.m. appointment on Tuesday morning, and everything else is just kind of whatever as it comes. But since you don't have 2 days alike, you get out of a routine. If you like to have a routine in your life, real estate is not a good career. One-Eyed Cat's asking, any rubber ducks for the Jeep yet? I've gotten 7 altogether, which I thought was pretty cool. 7 ducks that Jeep has accumulated. Danny Boyd says, find your optimum schedule and stick to it. Yeah, I can see that. Unfinished projects at the bed and the shower are the same for me. The only thing I hate more than getting in is getting out. I can see that. Blue Grit Garage says the engine in the Mustang was supposed to be from an 86 F-150, assuming the trans is from the same. I'm talking about that big E4OD that Cope does the manual valve body for. I just wonder if anybody's run an early Mustang like that. It's a big overkill, heavy-duty transmission. They came in like the 250s and 350s. And they also came in like the Lightnings and the Lightning clones and so forth. They came in the 150s as well. But it's later than that. The E4OD 4R100. But it's a big case. I just wonder if you've ever seen anybody running one in a car. Dougster likes the rubber duck hood ornament from Convoy. Unfinished Project likes the death proof hood ornament. Yeah. Danny Boyd says, I get right up when I wake up in the morning now. I used to sleep as long as I could, still getting 7-8 hours a night. Yeah, I mean, depending on your routine, that works. I have a little gray alarm clock that wakes me up every day. 53 pounds of energy and tells me when it's time to go out in the morning. Cars used to be so classy when they had hood ornaments back in the day. And they also made a good little peep sight, for running stuff over. Just saying. Peckerwood Customs, have you done real estate your whole working life? Well, I mean, I had jobs in college. I mean, I used to work in the mailroom, used to work for the biology department at Virginia Tech, worked for the engineering department at Virginia Tech. But after college, I went to Alpha Omega Real Estate School right afterward. Got my real estate license. I was an agent for several years and a broker. Been a broker a long time now. And so, yeah, my whole career has been in real estate. Now they say hood ornaments are dangerous. They think everything's dangerous. Why do you have anything cool on a dashboard anymore? Everything is just plastic now. So listen, the rubber duck thing is just something these Jeep people do. I've had 7 ducks just appear on that Jeep, unsolicited. Indecisive Garage says generally the cars would have a 4R70W. Yeah, and then what came in the Crown Vics, Tim? You think you're right? I think that is the car component of that. Dougster says, I have a couple of the J.C. Whitney Ram hood ornaments that are hollow and rigid mount, and one has red glowing eyes. If I put a bulb inside it, ooh, well, that's wild. Most people don't know if you sight the hood ornament on the white line of the highway, you'll be in the center of your lane. Okay. The rubber duck means people like your Jeep. It's very popular. It's been very popular at a couple of shows I've taken it to. It is very different. Peckerwood Customs says, I was getting some heat for a hood scoop one day. I told the cop if I hit someone with the front of my car, the last thing they have to worry about is the scoop. You live in a tyrannical place, man. What can I say? That 70 F-250 drove as a 14-year-old, had a Mack Bulldog hood ornament. Yes, cool. Levi's here. I'm late to the party. Had a wonderful birthday yesterday and enjoyed the day working on the Laguna new ECU. What are you, Levi? About 19 now? No, you are. Pretty close. Unfinished Project said, we shot the line. We went for broke with 1,000 screaming trucks, 11 long-haired friends of Jesus, and a chartreuse microbus. Right on. There you go. Thank you for the super chat, Dust Devil Garage. I appreciate it. 104 starting to get scary. 103, 2 hours and 15 minutes to be exact. And thank you much. As you know, we don't solicit super chats here, but that goes directly into the No Name Nationals General Fund. So thank you kindly. We appreciate it. Peckerwood Custom says, I should try that. Left-hand drive car in a right-hand world gets confusing. Yeah, I would be afraid to try to drive a car anywhere that had right-hand drive. I'm sure I would just wind up on the wrong side of the road out of habit somehow. "38 Racing says the other half wants to bore out the center of the fender sights on the blue 59 for LED lights. Ooh. Yeah, some people do that. Laura says hood ornaments are dangerous while 15-inch screens in the dash aren't. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd rather have people watching where they're going. Cousin Cletus has got to run. Thanks for dropping by. We appreciate you. Thank you kindly. Levi says, just to drop the mic before I head out, the crappy orange hot rod is. And then he dropped the mic. We couldn't hear the rest of it. Well, cool, man. Thank you for coming by, man. He said it's going to clean the floor with a purple Mopar. Ooh. He's looking over his shoulder as he says it, in case Joe's listening. Modern automotive safety. Eliminate vision to save you in the event of a rollover. How many times have you been in a rollover compared to nearly T-boning somebody because of that 4-inch A-pillar? No kidding. Of course, this is one reason I don't like to have modern anything. It is harder to see out of these modern cars, though. They make the back windows so much smaller and all that, and those huge C-pillars in the back. I don't care for any of that. You're right now that you say that. I didn't think about it, but you're right. They did take a lot of the vision out of the car. This is a good comment here. I'm not even sure what it means, but I like it. New cars suck monkey buttons. There you go. That's Bear Rose Garage's comment of the night. Mohawk said, try that sometime. I was told in a truck driving class and found it to be true. Okay, well, now we all want to try it. Mohawk knows things. Indecisive Garages, there's 3 versions of the 4R100, standard or light truck, SVT, Lightning, and diesel. Cool. Unfinished project that happened to Ferris Bueller. Johnny C says, postal workers must get confused jumping into their personal cars after work. Yeah, but they usually drive them goofy. Like the rural carriers will drive a different way, right-hand drive, and it's just that route. So I guess it's not quite as bad as if they were driving in a, But and plus, too, I don't think driving a right-hand drive vehicle would be bad here because I would still be driving on the side of the road I'm used to, albeit from the wrong seat. That I could do. I don't think I could drive there. Levi said, I said it because I know Joe is listening. Tell you what, don't take that purple Barracuda for granted. I don't think there is any limit to how big and how many ducks these Jeep people will run. I don't think there's any limit at all. Dougster says he wants the red Ram hood ornament to glow when the diesel hits 15 pounds of boost. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I kind of like that idea. That's neat, Dougster. Danny Boyd says those 2010 Camaros are hard to see out of. Yeah, I'm telling you, I can look at them from the outside and tell they're hard to see out of. The greenhouse line is so high. It is. It is. The Challengers are like that too, but not as bad. The Camaro's worse. You're right. Indirect Connection says for the non-truckers in the group on a Mack, a gold Bulldog means it has all Mack drivetrain, engine, trans, and rear. A chrome means it has other companies' parts, like a Mack engine, fuller trans, etc. I never knew that, Jason. That is really cool. That's really cool. Never knew that. A friend of mine named his son Mike for the truck. Sure did. Evans Mopar Scott said, I had a green Datsun V210, decided to do a Mountain Dew theme on it. Well, that makes sense. Bolted on a plastic 16-ounce bottle on the hood and put water in it. The car was a legend. Hit a huge buck and bent the bottle. Okay. Do you have any pictures of that, Scott? If you ever have a picture of that handy and can text it to me, I'll put it up on the screen. Danny Boyd says, all Macks have Mack engines, ? I know a lot of Brockways came with Detroits. Yeah, you people are talking stuff I don't have any idea. Dougster said, shifting gears with your left hand was quite the experience. Yeah, I can see that. Although I've shifted gears with my left hand, but I've always done it over here, for some goofy reason. Levi said, Jason dropping some knowledge on us uneducated small truck guys. Pretty neat info. I'll look at Max differently. Yeah, I'm going to be looking for that now. Johnny C says, it will be interesting to shift left-handed. Yeah, I bet. Just certain things that I'm never going to get used to. That will be one of them. Danny Boyd knew a guy whose last name was Mack, and he had a cursive Mack truck badge mounted on his mailbox. Sounds good to me. Dougster likes the Mack V8, distinct sounding diesel. Oh, I bet. Dust Devil Garage is saying the doors on newer cars are higher too. As someone who grew up hanging my elbow out the window, I know this. Yes, I agree. The new cars, that is a problem with new cars. Well, if you do, let me know. I'd like to put that up on the screen. I think people would enjoy it. Or make a community post out of it. Wendy doesn't even want to try to drive the left-hand drive car, I think. I think that's what that comment means. Jason says, Brockways were rebadged Max. The truck that rolls over in convoy is a Brockway pulling a flatbed. Okay. Had no idea. Barrow says, my Mack tool guy drives a Mack tool truck. He had a custom grill made that dropped the K. Cool guy, pretty cool truck. Neat. I like it. Blue Grit says, a military electrical engineer friend is coming by Sunday to help me figure out the melted under dash wiring in Anna's 67 Mustang. Trying to get it to start with a key, not a jumper wire and a screwdriver. Well, it sounds to me like you've already won half the war if the fact you can get it to start with a jumper wire and a screwdriver, right? Dougster says, I've seen Mack V8s turned way up in dump trucks. Cool. Mohawk says, driving a twin-stick Mack twin screw was fun, not safe. It takes both hands to shift. I've seen those, never even thought about trying to drive one. Jason would love to have one if you find one that wasn't rotted out. I can see that. Big Mike said he had a great uncle, everyone called Mack. Grizzled old World War II veteran. Yep. So tell me, how do these things even operate? I've only seen them. I've never tried to drive one. Twin stick Mac twin screw. Takes both hands to shift. Can you explain that in a comment or two to me? The gnarliest thing I ever want to try to drive is a Lenco. Mean Street Mopar says, Mean Street Mopar's link is here, courtesy of Lars. Danny Boyd says auxiliary transmission. Well, that's kind of what a Lenco is. It's several independent transmissions run in series. So there's the link for Mean Street Mopar, currently running first in the No Name 500. Stinger Salvage is close behind. Lars puts up the link for him. We have 4 channels registered in the No Name 500 right now. The No Name 500 has gotten smaller each year, even though the total car count has remained healthy. But that's because as channels graduate from the No Name 500, they re-register as established channels. Running third in the No Name 500 is Indecisive Garage. Tim here. He's close to halfway there. Mohawk says, we had one we turned into a dump truck. It was in great shape. The boss and owner painted it dark blue and called it Macosaurus. I don't know where it is now. Sorry. Cool. Indirect Connection says the twin screw refers to have 2 rear axles. A single screw has 1 drive axle. Okay. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat subscribes to all of the No Name 500 channels, as do I. They earn my sub. I hope they earn yours. And the link to Lone Wrench Garage. He may be running last in the No Name 500, but he is determined and he's doing good stuff over there. So definitely go check him out. He's participating in the 30 Shorts in 30 Days Challenge, which is a lot of fun. I mean, all of you guys ought to be doing that just for the fun of it. Dougster says, to shift the twin screw stick fast requires 1 hand on each shifter and hook your arm through the wheel and let that diesel sing. Ooh. 38 says you split gears between the 2 transmissions, i.e. run the front through 4 gears with the trans in 1, shift the rear to 2 and start over in the front. Oh my. Okay. Yikes. Doug, and don't touch the clutch. That's what I hear. I need to drive something like that one of these days and do a video on it. But I'm going to have somebody show me how. Dust Devil says, anyone know if it's worth running a relay to my MSD box or not worth the time? It's a good question. Never thought about that before. I don't think I've ever seen one done that way. But you guys who are electrical gurus can opine on that. Mohawk says, never put your arm or any part of your body through the wheel. I don't even put my thumbs through the wheel. If any of you guys ever ridden with me, you notice I drive with my thumbs up. You get in a wreck or you go off road and hook the wheels and that steering wheel spins, you'll find out really quick why I do it. I keep my thumbs up on top of the wheel. So Dust Devil wants to know if anyone has ever run a relay to your MSD box through the switched power wire. I'm not a fan. Okay, I understand how relay works. I totally understand it, why they do it, all of that. You know, using smaller wires to carry the currents. You don't have to run the bigger wires as far. I get all that. But I'm a fan of more wire, fewer relays, wiring directly if possible in general. That's a lot of shifting. Absolutely. Clutchless with twin sticks? Yeah, I agree. There's actually 3 sticks in a twin stick? Yeah. Single axle road tractors, the big ones all look like they're missing something? Maybe. Big Mike said I had 3 sticks in my 67 Scout. Well, yeah, it's a little bit different. Indirect Connection says having 3 or 4 reverse gears means you can hit a dock extra hard. Yeah, I bet you could. Never thought about it that way, but you'd be right. And with the Brownie, you get 4 reverse speeds, I think. Yeah, right. That you would. The One-Eyed Cat says Buffalo Brian duct tapes over his steering wheel for Derby. He's seen too many broken fingers. Right, exactly. That there again. There's another application why you would not want to put your thumbs through the wheel. Lars puts up a link for the AHRA channel Tech Talk Live every Wednesday at 7 Central with Dallas and Professor P. Thank you for that plug. Lars is way ahead of it. He knows that I always like to plug that near the end of the live, so indeed catch that. Indecisive Garage says I drove an R model Mac in 80 with a triplex transmission, 3 shifters, which was worn out. To shift, I put my left arm through the steering wheel and shifted the first stick and right hand for the other 2. Oh my gosh. What a crazy bunch of stuff. It makes me want an automatic more every time I read something like that. Lars also puts up a link to register or buy spectator tickets for the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals here. And that's the direct link, which Lars posts in the chat. You can also type in nonamenationals.com. It'll redirect there as well. Bear Rose says, here in Idaho, you can find a lot of Tri-5 cabs in good shape because GMC did a tag axle like that on Spud trucks. They couldn't get them through the fields, so they parked them. Okay. 38 Racing says it's a great idea. I've seen solid center wheels for that reason. Yeah, I can see that too. Blue Grit says the only thing I know about trucking is they do not want to be near pot smoke. Me neither. Driving through St. Louis smells like a skunk. That's what I hear. Man, I don't want that stuff anywhere near me. It's a plague. Johnny C said that's why bumper cars have solid steering wheels. That makes sense. Danny Boy says Cincinnati smells like weed when you're out driving. Yeah, I can see that. This is what Dust Devil Brian says he wants to put in his duster. Is that Kill Duff? Is that what that is, Brian? Peckerwood says, Big Mike's Hoopty Barn, you're doing really well, sir. I'm just starting the journey again, and you're inspiring. Mike is inspiring, just in general. Indirect Connection says, tag axles were the worst idea ever for a farm field. The drives would dig a hole, and the tag would take all the weight off the drives. I guess so. There we go. Yeah, the Kill Duff lightning rods. There we go. Yeah, I think that's what Andy's doing for his Casper-Matic in the truck. I think that's what he's doing. It's the Kill Duff setup. Mohawk said I had an old Detroit diesel V8 and International, bumped the dock too hard, spun the engine backwards. Had black exhaust smoke coming out of the breathers, 2 forward gears and 9 reverse. Oh my gosh. Wow. It just sounds so wild. Have to think through that one. Indirect Connection says it runs just as slow both ways. Okay. Danny Boyd Tournament. Well, I'll tell you, you guys know all kinds of stuff about trucks I couldn't even imagine. But with that, we're here near the end of our live. I'm going to be live in person with Rabbit Transit Garage and Indirect Connection, Jay and Jason, this upcoming weekend from Southern West Virginia. You'll want to catch that a week from now. Actually, it would be 8 p.m. Eastern time this upcoming Friday the 13th. So I'll plug that, as Lars just put up the link for the AHRA Tech Talk Live with Dallas and Professor P on Wednesdays. You want to catch that. Hopefully Dallas will wake up in time for it this time. But and also go check out our No Name 500 channels. And if you want to participate in the Shorts Challenge, it's going on right now, 30 shorts in 30 days from June 5th until July the 4th. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So keep your eyes peeled on shorts coming out on these channels for people participating in it. It's a lot of fun. They always get a lot of subs from it. And it's community building. It's a lot of fun. I'm doing it with you. So with that, You guys have a great weekend, and we will see you again next week from a different location. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend.